Ever feel like life's kind of like, throwing curveballs at you and you're like, wait, what did I do to deserve this? Is this like a punishment or is this a test?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what we're diving into today.
Right.
We're going to be looking at how Islam views misfortune.
Yes.
And how do we know if we're dealing with a punishment or a trial?
I love it.
So we're drawing our insights from pasted text.
Okay.
It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a framework that goes beyond just theology.
Okay.
You know, it really helps you understand your own life, your struggles, and really, at the end of the day, your relationship with Allah.
Absolutely. So before we get to that, how do I know what I'm dealing with part?
Yes.
Let's lay down some groundwork.
Absolutely. The Quran itself gives us that foundation.
Okay.
You see, punishment in this context is about consequences. It's a direct result of our actions.
Okay.
But trials, those are about resilience. They're about strengthening our faith, and they can happen regardless of whether we've been good or bad.
Okay.
Surah An-Nisa 4.79 captures this beautifully.
Okay.
Whatever good happens to you is from Allah, but whatever evil befalls you is from yourself. And it's important to remember that Allah forgives much.
He does.
Surah Ash-Shura 42.30 reminds us of that.
So even in the face of what we might perceive as punishment,
Yes.
there's this element of mercy.
Absolutely.
And forgiveness.
Yes, very important.
But I'm guessing that doesn't make it any easier to figure out what we're actually facing when things go wrong.
You're right, it doesn't. And that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Pasted text gives us a sort of litmus test.
Okay.
For instance, if you're facing difficulty while engaged in acts of obedience, let's say hardship during jihad.
Okay.
Which, by the way, in its truest sense, refers to the struggle for righteousness.
Okay.
Both internally and externally. That hardship is often seen as a trial, a test of your patience and your faith.
So striving for good, but facing challenges along the way.
Yes.
That's more of a sign that you're being tested, not necessarily punished.
Precisely.
Okay.
On the other hand, if misfortune directly stems from harmful choices, like health problems as a result of substance abuse, that's categorized as a worldly punishment.
Okay, so those are like the more clear-cut cases.
Yes.
What about when, a curveball comes out of nowhere?
Right.
Like there's no obvious good deed or sin, it's just bam, life happens.
That's where it gets really personal.
Okay.
The source highlights the individual's piety as the key factor in these situations.
Piety. So how devoted you are to Allah influences how that misfortune is interpreted.
Does.
Isn't that a bit subjective?
It's not about judgment,
Huh?
but rather about understanding how our connection with Allah shapes our perception and our response to hardship.
Right.
For someone deeply connected to their faith, these events are often seen as trials, opportunities to purify the soul, but for someone less connected, it might be perceived as a punishment.
That's a pretty profound distinction.
It is.
So it's not just about the event itself, but who we are,
Exactly.
where we are on our spiritual journey.
And it really emphasizes the importance of strengthening our relationship with Allah, regardless of the circumstances we face. Remember, this framework isn't about assigning blame, but about understanding Allah's mercy and seeking growth even in hardship. There's a hadith from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that encapsulates this beautifully. He said, the extent of the reward will be in accordance with the extent of the trial.
So the harder the test, the greater the potential reward.
Yes.
That's actually quite encouraging.
It is. It shifts our focus from feeling like a victim to recognizing the potential for spiritual elevation.
So it's not why me.
Exactly.
But what can I learn from this?
Precisely, even in difficulty, there's an opportunity to deepen our connection with Allah.
So it really reframes challenges as a pathway to spiritual growth. Not something to just endure. But something to learn and grow from.
Absolutely.
It makes me wonder, though, how this framework applies to events that impact not just individuals, but entire communities or even the world. Things like natural disasters, pandemics, global conflicts. Are those viewed through the same lens?
That's a really thought-provoking question, and it's one that Islamic scholars have grappled with for centuries. There are a lot of different interpretations, but one perspective is that such large-scale events can be seen as collective trials for humanity.
So instead of individual tests of faith,
Yeah.
it's like humanity as a whole is being tested.
Yes, and these events can often serve as stark reminders of our own limitations.
Okay.
That we're not truly in control.
Yeah.
Allah is.
Yes.
And they can be a call to return to him, to seek his guidance and mercy.
It's almost like a wake-up call.
Yes.
Forcing us to reevaluate our priorities, both individually and as a global community.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It speaks to the interconnectedness of all things and how even seemingly disparate events can be woven into a larger tapestry of meaning.
This has been really insightful. So far, we've explored how to distinguish between punishment and trial.
Right.
The potential for growth through hardship, and even how this framework might apply to global events.
Yes.
But I'm curious, what does this all mean for how we should live our lives?
Mm-hmm.
How does this understanding shape our actions and choices on a day-to-day basis?
That's the core question, isn't it?
It is.
And I think it boils down to a few key takeaways.
Okay.
Firstly, this framework encourages us to be mindful of our actions.
Okay.
You know, when we understand that our choices have consequences not just in this world,
Yeah.
but also in a spiritual sense,
Mm-hmm.
it can really motivate us to strive for righteousness.
So it's not about living in fear of punishment,
No.
but about understanding the weight of our decisions.
Yeah.
And choosing to act in alignment with our values.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that our actions have ripple effects,
Okay.
impacting not only ourselves, but those around us.
What else?
Secondly, it fosters patience and perseverance in the face of adversity.
Okay.
You know, when we view trials as opportunities for growth,
Yeah.
we can navigate challenges with greater resilience.
Okay.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The believer is like a green plant. The wind keeps blowing it down, but it rises again."
So instead of asking, why me?
Yeah.
We can ask, what can I learn from this?
Yes.
And how can I grow stronger through this experience?
Precisely. And it's in those moments of struggle, those moments when we lean on our faith, that we often discover a depth of strength we didn't know we possessed.
Wow.
And this leads to the third takeaway, which is cultivating a sense of gratitude and appreciation for the blessings in our lives.
Okay.
When we understand that all good things come from Allah, it deepens our thankfulness and inspires us to use those blessings wisely.
It's a reminder to appreciate both the good times and the bad.
Yes.
Recognizing that both are part of our journey. Both are opportunities to draw closer to Allah.
They are.
But I have to admit, it's one thing to intellectually grasp these concepts.
Yeah.
And quite another to embody them when life throws those inevitable curveballs.
You're absolutely right. It's a journey.
It is.
It's not a destination. It's about constantly striving to align our lives with our beliefs, navigating the ups and downs, and seeking to deepen our connection with Allah through it all. And that takes practice. It takes intention, and it takes remembering these principles even amidst the storm.
Yeah, it really is a constant process.
It is.
Of learning and refining,
Yeah.
falling down, getting back up, but seeking that deeper connection with Allah.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes this framework so powerful.
Yeah.
It's not about having all the answers.
No.
Or, achieving some level of perfection. It's about embracing the journey with all its complexities.
Beautifully put. It's about recognizing that our connection with the divine can be strengthened even amidst the storms.
Yeah.
Even amidst the trials and the perceived punishments.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. We explored the distinction between punishment and trial.
We did.
That incredible potential for spiritual growth that lies within hardship.
Yes.
And how this understanding can guide us in our daily lives.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up this deep dive,
yes,
is there one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to walk away with?
After all this discussion, I think the most important question isn't, is this a punishment or a trial?
Okay.
But rather, how can I use this experience, whatever its nature, to strengthen my faith and draw closer to Allah?
Such a powerful shift in perspective, It
is.
It's not about getting caught up in labels.
Right.
Or trying to decipher the why behind every hardship.
Yeah.
But about focusing on the opportunity for growth and connection. That lies within each experience.
It's about taking ownership of our spiritual journey, recognizing that even the most challenging experiences can be catalysts for profound transformation.
So as you navigate your own life's challenges, remember, this Islamic perspective that we've explored today may it empower you to approach difficulties with newfound understanding, patience, and a heart-seeking growth.
And remember, the path to Allah is paved with both ease and hardship, both joy and sorrow. Embrace it all as part of His divine plan.
And with that, we'll leave you to contemplate this profound wisdom. Until next time, may your journey be filled with blessings and growth.